So, we usually talk about games that I like on this channel. Today, we're talking about one that I didn't like. And this one got a very out of character reaction out of me. I don't usually like to show that I'm upset when I'm on stream, but this one really, really upset me, and I can't quite put a finger on why. I think it has to do something with how much I loved the first Last of Us. And yes, I just told you which game I dislike a shit ton, and it's The Last of Us Part 2. Please don't jump down my throat just yet, because I'm going to explain why to you. I'm going to explain why I didn't like it. And for me, it felt extremely rushed. And we're going to get into spoilers here, so please, if you haven't played the game, if you somehow live under a rock and you are able to avoid all of the conversations about The Last of Us 2, please get the fuck out of this video because I'm about to spoil all of it. I played this game and it's gorgeous. I love all the new upgrades. All that stuff is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with any of that. My issue came with how attached I am to the first game and the amazing character development that we see Joel go through. He starts off as this really hardened guy. He has just lost his daughter, Sarah. He's having a really hard time in this post apocalyptic world because obviously he's done some terrible things. He's killed a lot of people to survive. He has no attachment to anyone but his brother Tommy, and he kind of feels like a lot of this is useless. The fight doesn't feel like he's doing anything that is going to change the world at this point because the world has gone to shit. He's lost everything. Okay? So this one story, the first story where he takes Ellie under his wing and takes her across the country, and then he finds out that she is about to be sacrificed over a cure that might not even work. That stuck with me because he at first didn't even want to take Ellie on this trip. He was like, "Who the fuck is this twerp? Why do I have to do this? I'm a shitty man who has killed a shit ton of people. Morally, this makes no sense for me. I don't want to do this." But then over the course of the whole game, he finds this connection with Ellie, and she somehow becomes his purpose. She becomes what he wants to protect. And I love that about the very first story and the moral dilemma that he has to deal with at the end when he has to decide whether to tell Ellie the truth or not. Where he is like, "Okay, I just busted you out of here. I killed a bunch of fireflies. We can either spend the rest of our lives with, the secret hanging over our heads on the run, or I could just lie to Ellie and tell her that no cure existed and we went there for nothing and we're just going back home." That ending stuck with me because that is a fucked up cliffhanger to leave a story on. Obviously, Ellie felt like her purpose in life, it needed something bigger. She wanted her life to mean something. I get it. And the fact that he lied to her about this is going to cause a strain in their relationship. Yes. And I wanted to see where that goes. But the culmination of the sequel really... how do I put this into words without getting death threats? So, this is what I took issue with. I don't think that there is anything wrong with killing Joel in this game. Okay, I'm going to preface that. Okay, we're going to start by prefacing that. I do think that there were a lot of things that Joel did that he had to pay for and that he had to okay, maybe pay for isn't the best way to say it, but I think that what Joel did in saving Ellie and killing a lot of fireflies in the process, I don't think that what he did was the right thing to do. But at the same time, we need to understand that Joel is a morally gray character. That's fucked up. What he did was fucked up. So, okay, Abby is now going to go out into the world and try to find her vengeance. Okay? That is a thing that now exists in the world because of what he did. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is how fast you guys wanted to kill Joel and get on with the rest of the story. Okay? This is what I took issue with because it was extremely narratively weak. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. For me, the game fell short the second that you guys decided to make Abby into this person who would just easily get set off by something that was said to her in a conversation and then go off and do an entire mission that has probably taken months to plan and just go and do it by herself, right?
Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. I'll do the whole thing on my own.
Because I'm just gonna talk about the scene right before she finds Joel and Tommy. The whole sequence where Abby and Owen are introduced just feels really distant and alien to me. And what pisses me off the most about it is that they themselves are talking about how difficult it's gonna be to get Joel out of the community, right? And they don't know that Joel and Tommy are currently out doing a patrol right now. So technically, they're in the best position for them to find them. They don't know this. Yet, Owen says something about his current girlfriend to Abby to piss her off into going to do this mission by herself, okay? This is the story we're going with. So he randomly tells her that his new girlfriend is pregnant. At this point in the game, we don't know who the fuck Owen is. We don't know who the fuck Mel is. We don't fucking care. But Abby gets mad and she goes off. And this is right after their conversation saying, we don't know how this is going to work. We can't just lure them out of their community. And Abby's like, well, we can do this and we can do that. And Owen's like, dude, I don't know. This doesn't seem likely.
I saw an armed patrol go from town to an outpost over there. A few more outposts in between. They have electricity, guns. It's a lot of people.
We can figure it out.
Okay. Assuming he's in there, how do we get to him?
We can corner one of the patrols and get confirmation, and then, I don't know, maybe find a way to lure him out.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they'll be happy to offer that information up.
Well, then we make them.
You hear yourself?
Okay, what do you want to do? What is going on with you?
Which Owen is the voice of reason because we as the audience, we're all sitting there like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Which this wouldn't work in reality. This entire scenario pisses me off. This entire part of the game is what makes me dislike it. The rest of the game, honestly, not that bad. It's really not. It's good. I don't mind it. This is what bothers me because you guys didn't try enough to start this game. You cared so much about where they were going that you didn't care about setting it up. And that's why I don't like this game. When she goes off to continue her mission solo, we're all just sitting there like, how the fuck is she supposed to do this? How does she possibly pull this off? And the answer is perfectly. Somehow she gets through this entire thing perfectly. She ends up getting surrounded by a zombie horde, gets rescued by just the people that she is trying to find, Tommy and Joel. Double jackpot because they aren't on patrol with anyone else. It's just the two of them. They are surrounded by this horde, so they're like, oh, where do we go? And Abby, with her bright ass brain, is like, oh, I have a place to go where all of my friends are also waiting for you. So they get lured to her hideout after they save her fucking life. And yeah, that's what happens. And as they're waiting, standing by, waiting for her arrival, she just pulls in with these two great finds, and you're just like,
yeah, sounds like a load of bull jizzle.
in what universe would this ever happen? I understand that it's part of your story, that is your narrative that you have built. We all suspend, imagination. We all do that in order to make a story get somewhere. But then it gets worse because they get inside and Tommy and Joel introduce themselves by first name.
Hey, I'm Tommy. That's Joel. What's your name?
Abby.
Abby, are you okay?
And this is where they've been caught. They get murdered. Well, not Tommy. Tommy survives because Joel was the only target. But I just feel like a lot of this could have been a little better if we would have been allowed to spend a little more time with the characters. Like, okay, we could have kept Ellie and Joel's conflict. We could have kept that. We could have kept Joel's death. I have no problem with that. If Joel needed to die in this game, that's fine. Just make more of it make sense. We could have had like Abby and a couple of them like infiltrate the camp or like show up at their doorstep and be like, look, we've been traveling for a really long time. We have been attacked by a horde of zombies. Could we like stay in your community for a little bit and like stay and like gather intel and shit and like maybe slowly get to know them, and then at some point have Abby like still murder Joel and then escape, and then have Abby like chase her. I mean, have Ellie chase her after that, and something like that. I would have been okay with something a little less rushed. I just felt very jarred and controlled by how the story went. I don't like how it just like wove itself, and I just had to sit there and fucking watch it. And I think, yes, that is how the Last of Us universe kind of works. That's how it's always been. People sort of just, fucking die. Just like, it's been with characters that just randomly get introduced in the past. But it just really bothers me that you would build up a character like Joel this way. Somebody as important as Joel, because I think Joel was a very important part to Ellie's journey, her character development, and a lot of personal journeys for the player. Like, how are you just gonna do that to a lot of us? At least give him a death where, like, let's say, here's a scenario that I had in my head about what could have possibly gone down with Abby and Joel, right? So I had pictured something like Abby is in their community for quite a while. She's been snooping and shit. She's been slowly finding out information about Joel. She finally knows that he is the one who killed her dad. And she, like, sneaks into his cabin late at night and, you know, she tries to kill him. And they have a conversation. And it's just the two of them. No one else is there. Joel cannot have that whole like, he can't have a facade in that situation. And then he finally has to explain, like, yes, Ellie, my daughter, was on the table and your dad was the surgeon, and I had to make a split-second decision. I could either, you know, not kill your dad and let him kill my daughter, or I could kill your dad and save my daughter.
Joel Miller.
Who are you?
Guess.
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed? Get this over with.
And they could have that conversation, and she could still decide to kill him and leave that night. I would be fine with that. I would be I would feel better. But no, instead we got Golf Club Joel. But hey, I guess abrupt loss, anguish, yeah. I guess that's what's important about storytelling these days. I guess all of that is it outweighs, you know, the narrative, you know? It's more important. It's so upsetting because I really enjoyed the section of the game with the Seraphites and Lev and her mom having like this insane breakdown and wanting to kill Lev, and then Lev just fucking killing her mom, I guess. Well, killing their mom. And then Yara and that entire storyline I really liked. I feel like narratively it was all over the place. It didn't really want to know, like, not that it didn't want to know. The game didn't know what it was. It kind of had an identity crisis, and I felt uncomfortable while I was playing it. Maybe that was the point. Maybe that was the point the whole time. But yeah, I tried to play it a second time, and I couldn't do it. And I think that's where it will lie. It wasn't terrible. I really liked the new upgrades in the gaming mechanics. It is really fun just going around and killing people. Yeah. Sorry, this game just makes me feel so empty inside. Dead inside. I don't know. I just feel like the story could have been better, but for the sake of new story, new characters, y'all kind of forgot to give your existing characters better story arcs, and that is just my opinion. Tommy didn't get shit. Tommy was literally just going across country the whole game. And then at the end, he got this like really shitty encounter with Ellie, asking her why she wasn't continuing to search for revenge for her father. And I just no. A lot of this could have been done differently, but whatever. Whatever. I think it's okay for all of us to disagree on what we felt worked and what didn't. I think that's what's beautiful about being human. We all see things in different ways. And in this case, the story that I saw was not one deserving of praise. We all said goodbye to Joel in probably the lamest way possible. For those of you who enjoyed it, I'm so glad that you did. I don't wish to fight with you. I just wanted to explain why I personally wasn't a fan. You can explain why you liked it. That's great. I've heard many people tell me why they enjoyed it. While I was playing the game on my Twitch channel, I had a lot of friends come in and, we would talk about the things that we liked, the things that we didn't like. And we would agree to disagree because that is what the gaming community is for. We talk about the things we agree with and the things that we disagree with. That has never changed. I will never play this game again. But I hope that those of you who enjoy it, keep playing. Keep playing for as long as you can. I, however, will let this game die where Joel did.